All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the AI Powered Seller. I am your host, Jake Dunlap, CEO of Scaled Consulting, founder of Journey AI. And today is a part 2. So if you haven't listened to the first episode of the day in the life of an AI powered seller, please make sure you go and check that out. I really tried to make that episode really the 1.0, which is what are some things that I think a reasonable salesperson or sales leader could do with maybe 10 to 15 hours of reshuffling and prep to dramatically change their day-to-day. Today's episode is not that. Okay, today's episode is for my 201 folks. So if you are somebody who says, Jake, I already understand assistance. I already understand, the basics and fundamentals. I'm using it in my day-to-day, maybe not as well as I could. This episode is for you, for sure. Last episode, I covered what I like to call like the AI assisted seller. You prompt, AI responds, call prep handles, is being handled for you behind the scenes. You might even be using some AI-assisted follow-up drafts. But there's one thing in the mix still with all of those. You are still the bottleneck, right? You are still the one, waking up, opening up ChatGPT, and typing in research this account, wait, prompt again, wait again. So V2 is the next level. And everything I'm going to tell you today, we have either built already for clients and is in production or is already possible. Think of V2 as this. What if AI just ran for you, right? What if AI, overnight between calls, after meetings, was just running for you? And that, my friends, is the goal for today's episode is how does AI go from something you work with to something that works for you? So let's jump into it. As usual, thank you for joining me. If you get value out of this episode, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to download and favorite on your favorite podcast platform as well. And let's jump into this new world.
AI powered seller.
It's an exciting world. For a lot of people out there, there's a lot of headache / fear, I feel like, in the media right now around, is AI going to take my job? And the answer, I've answered this many, many times before, is there's a chance. And there's a chance that if you are still doing a lot of things manually, you're still clinging to ways that you were successful 10 or 15 years ago, well, then yeah, maybe. But this new version of the AI-powered seller day in the life V2 that I'm going to walk you through is certainly a way to future-proof. If you are somebody who's nervous, somebody who's worried, like I said before, make sure to go back and listen to the first episode 100%. But this episode is going to help to hopefully open your mind a little bit. I like to refer to AI, and when I say this in a corporate setting, sometimes people get a little weirded out by it, but AI to me is like work mushrooms. It's like the more that you use it, the more that you use AI, the more that you are able to explore and try new things, your mind just opens up and it's like, whoa, like, can it do this now? Can it do this now? Etc. So today's episode is going to be a little, maybe we'll title today's episode Workplace Mushrooms, APS Day in the Life Part 2. Let's get started. Let's start pre-day. So what is possible to happen while you're asleep? Today, what happens while you're asleep? Well, you think about stuff overnight. You are like, oh crap, I forgot this thing. You maybe write it down or you take some notes on your phone. But let's talk about an AI-powered day. Again, I'm going to call out things today that are already possible. I'm really going to try to make my focus on automations, digital teammates, things that you can do right now that are more than possible or things that we've already set up. The first is, let's talk about accounts with intent, accounts with high levels of interest that maybe didn't, engage with you. So one thing pre-day where AI is going to help you is actually LinkedIn Sales Navigator just released their sales assistance. It's still in beta, but I'll put a link where you can sign up. I'm a preferred LinkedIn partner and can kind of make sure you guys get in there. But it automatically looks at all the intent signals around all the people in your company, people that are in your account base, it's hooked into your CRM, et cetera, and says, hey, here are the 25 people based on who you're engaging with, who are showing you some, research-based signals that you should reach out to. That sounds pretty awesome to me, right? The ability for you to just show up and instead of having to guess, like, who should I be DMing, it automatically tells you. Another, while you sleep, AI is working for you is meeting prep. So here's a good example of an automation that's very doable today is AI. And again, you can use N8N, you can use Microsoft Azure Foundry, Google Vertex. There's a lot of these types of platforms. We build on all three. And what it will do is it'll say, okay, Jake's calendar today, I'm going to look at the domain of the people he's meeting with. I'm going to pull that from GCal. I'm immediately then going to do the account research GPT. And we've got, 50 different flavors of that. And then I'm going to automatically pipe it to his Slack. And so I wake up in the morning, I see I've got my 4 meetings coming up, and the best prep that would have taken me, we'll call it 1.0, 30 minutes per account, I've just saved 2 hours, and the account prep is probably better as well too. You could also send that to email, would be another quick, way to adjust that workflow. So those are just a couple of AI works while you sleep examples that, at least in my opinion, would immediately move the needle. If you think about some of those details where, you just don't have enough time, you're like, oh crap, that meeting's coming up, I didn't have enough time to prep. You think about, hey, how can I spend my day more effectively? Like, let's focus on people that've got real intent because they've done things that we can track, not like third-party intent, which is somebody, looked at a white paper that had your company's, value prop in it. So in this world, you wake up, everything's waiting. It's not raw data, it's direction. And it says, here are the people we're going to focus on. Here's your prep. And then you're just getting into your morning. So let's talk about 8:30 a.m. So now you log in, right? You are thinking about all the different ways that you can engage people. You might be looking at your inbox going, dang, like I'm not really looking forward to this right now, etc. So let's talk about where AI can help when you start your day, in the morning in particular. So obviously the call prep is a big one, right? Call prep, that's going to make sure you're going to be able to go in, review the call prep, look at, pain points for this one, some company news. It also will suggest some talk tracks. We'll put a few links to some of our account call prep GPTs as well. So you guys can go check those out. There's some really cool things you can do that are out of the box. And now imagine those just being automated for you. They can even tee up discovery questions. I'll give you a good example. We built one for a client where it does this. They've got a whole call meeting brief, and it's got a mix of account prep, who we've worked with in the past that's similar to their industry, some potential pain points based on industry news. It's got some details around discovery questions you might want to ask as a part of that. So in addition, what else could AI help us out with in our morning? Well, another one is, and I use an email client called Superhuman. So what Superhuman actually does is Superhuman has already, and this is without me using snooze. If you guys know what snoozing emails are, it's like, hey, an email comes in my inbox. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it now. I pass it to later, Thursday. What I love about what Superhuman is doing is I log into my inbox, and Superhuman already has, depending on the day, 5, 10, 15, 20 follow-up email reply drafts ready to go. Like literally, I didn't tell it to do that. It just noticed like, hey, Jake's following up in an SOW. It's been 2 days. He probably wants to follow up again. I didn't set any type of rules up on the back end. I didn't say, hey, here's exactly what I wanted to say. It just automatically does it for me. So not only my prep for all my meetings, all my follow-ups are automatically drafted. And for a follow-up, look, do you need something that's crazy personalized? Not usually, especially if you're in the deal cycle, etc. So shout out to Superhuman. I've been a power user of Superhuman for at least 5 years. I was in the very early groups of that. So we'll put a link to Superhuman too. It is one of those things, like I would cancel a lot of subscriptions if if somebody tried to say it's either subscription A for streaming service or Superhuman. So my morning set up, I'm prepped, my follow-up's done, boom, right? I've already started to make calls to my high intent buyers, and I'm spending my day where I should. So it sounds like a pretty good morning. For if I was, a frontline seller today, I know that would make me very happy if I didn't have to think about doing a bunch of call prep. Who should I follow up with? And then also trying to think through, oh gosh, did I remember to follow up with Timmy because my tasks are overdue in Salesforce, which I know a lot of you can relate to that. I know I can relate to that as well too. So let's talk about midday. So our morning's off, we're rocking. Hopefully we've, ran a couple meetings already. Things are good. What about, this is like lunch break time. So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to think about what should I do, etc. Then what can AI do for me? So maybe this is where I want to check out, a lot of sales engagement platforms have some of this. There's a tool called Performance Pulse, and shout out to Performance Pulse. I'll put a link to Performance Pulse as well. Performance Pulse literally lets you see in real time all the different signals for your outbound. So it can say, hey, this template's went out over the last 2 days, X number of times. Your reply rate is X. You need to go change this. So what I'm then doing is I'm using AI to optimize my outbound, whether I'm an AE, an SDR, et cetera. I'm using Performance Pulse. So I'm not sending out a template in a sequence that goes out hundreds of times. I'm fixing it at number 30, number 50, right? And so a lot of AI is still very human in the loop, right? Even the examples that I gave about your morning, I still want you to go and check out the prep and be like, oh, I like that. Tell me a little bit more about that, et cetera. But it just does it for you a lot faster. So think, I'm logging into Performance Pulse. I'm seeing my outbound. Oh, man, my connect rate is very low over the last 2 days. Let me spend a couple of minutes, change a few things so I'm ready to rock in the afternoon and the rest of the week. That to me is like one really good example of how you could spend, time around your midday. Maybe another good example is, again, taking a look at some of your AI reflection numbers. So again, maybe taking a look at your, talk time or the amount of connects that you've had, taking a look at maybe, again, if you're using another AI powered tool like Orem. What Orem does is it can say, hey, Jake, here are the people we know from, billions of phone calls who actually answer the phone. And so for my afternoon call block, I'm gonna make sure I prioritize those. For my sellers out there, there's a tool called Vasco. Shout out to Vasco. I just heard of these guys, did a demo for the first time. And it's literally looking at your sales cycle in real time and saying, hey, not just this your deals are at risk because you haven't emailed the people. It's saying, hey, based on historical trends, what you've done in this deal over the last few days, here are the next step actions. So I'm kind of doing some reflection midday, setting the rest of my day up, setting the rest of my month up for, success. Again, every single thing I'm telling you is 100% doable today. Again, for all my AI folks out there, as I mentioned before, I am the founder of Journey AI. I believe it is the best chat assistant interface for all sellers. Go out, sign up for your free trial. It has account prep and research, outbound copilot, annual report summarizer, you name it. We've built a handful of assistants purely for salespeople. It sets up with your org. It's connected to your Salesforce in beta right now. So, you're literally using Gen AI and you're not having to prompt. They all prompt you. So make sure to go check out Journey if you're looking for a tool that's going to help you throughout your sales cycle. I promise you won't be disappointed.
AI powered seller.
All right, let's jump into the afternoon. So, all right, the day is cranking. We've spent our day optimized. We're reaching out to people that we, hopefully want to talk to us as well too. We've improved our sales cycle. We're having higher quality conversations as a part of it. Let's talk a little social selling block. So we've got a GPT, and there's others out there called Social Media Writer. And maybe what you want to do is start to put out some content that's going to be relevant towards your, VP level persona. Again, now what you can do as opposed to sitting there is say, hey, Social Media Writer will go, okay, who are we trying to target today? Okay, it's this person. Okay, what's the topic? Is there a topic that we want to bring up to this person? Well, maybe it's ABC. Okay, great. Do we want it to be more about this type of topic or this type? And it'll just prompt you through. So instead of having to sit there and think what could I actually put out there? You can put out 2 to 3 really high quality posts with your tone in 20 minutes. Right now, don't post them all obviously at once. Spread them out, over the course of a few days. But with Gen AI, I can now have AI go to work for me by, again, helping me to get to that V1. And then I turn my brain on and make it a 10 out of 10. Okay. So I've started to, nurture my audience, play a little of that midterm, long-term nurture game. What about contact and activity touch points? Let's go. Another thing that I really, really like with, Journey and other tools like it is imagine a world where every AI search, every touch point is automatically logged to your CRM. We're working on a GPT right now. This is an automation that what will happen is as soon as a call is finished, it pulls from the API, whether that's Zoom or Gong or Kaya or insert your favorite tool. It pulls from the API. That then sets a trigger that a call has happened. If the call disposition was marked and we know it's a discovery call or not, it automatically writes all that data back to the CRM, automatically formats your notes and puts those in the CRM, automatically logs an activity as a meeting or meeting completed, done. So as you fast forward to your day, as you're wrapping up your day, you've reached out to more and more of the right people. You've been better prepared than you ever have for those conversations. You've had some time to actually reflect because you're saving hours and improving on things you're doing. You're not stuck just like repeating mistakes of things that you know need to get fixed. You're nurturing your audience. You know, you're doing some LinkedIn nurturing if your audience is on LinkedIn or maybe a different platform if they're not. And you didn't have to log a single activity to your CRM, right? And imagine the final email that you get every day is CRM looks at all your opportunities, or AI does, says, here are the opportunities that we have seen that are set to close in the next 2 weeks. Here are the ones you've had calls with today. Which ones should we update? And it sends you that in Slack. You Slack back, and it automatically updates your opportunities. That is V2 of a day in the life of an AI-powered seller. I mean, this stuff is reality. Everything that I'm talking about. I'm gonna do a little bonus part here. I want to talk about manager mode, and I want to tell you a little bit about the AI-enabled leader. A little bonus episode here. But this is all happening. And I think if you listen to my podcast, I really encourage you to share this with your leadership because your leadership needs to hear this too. And these things are doable now because I want you to compare it to what most teams are doing today, right? Most teams today are literally, still, hey, I wake up, I haven't done any prep, or maybe I did some the night before, and the night before I had to Google, I went to their website, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, crap, these opportunities are out of date. I need to go update these opportunities as a part of it. Oh, wait, I didn't get a prep for this meeting. Let me just hop on the call and run through my kind of standard, group of questions that aren't even relevant to half the people. Then throughout the day, I'm just reaching out to people because they're the next up person on my list. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't have time to write any type of LinkedIn engagement or anything like that. I don't have time to reflect on my day-to-day. And I'm just going through the motions every day. And that, my friends, is the area of opportunity that we have with AI, is that in this V2 where AI goes from something we work with to something that works for us. So AI-enabled leader, guess what? This all applies to you too, right? Imagine a world, what it says is every morning it sends you a Slack note that says, hey, based on the calls from yesterday and based on our scoring rubric for a discovery call, you need to follow up with Jake and you need to follow up with Tim about ABC. And it's already in your Slack. Maybe it's even sent an email to them as well too. You can do that right now. Every day, it pulls the call transcripts from all of the specific recordings for people on your team, runs them through your deal evaluation or other criteria, not MedPick, right? Let's say, above and beyond, like was it a good call, etc., and automatically flags those for you so you know who to follow up with. It flags for you in real time in the morning, but either before you wake up, etc. Again, using let's say a performance pulse. It says, hey, based on the last 2 days, Rachel is killing it. Here's the template she's using. You should think about spreading this across the team. Boom, done. So imagine it's just surfacing all these kind of pipeline, call, outbound surfaces before you even start. Getting into the day-to-day, it says, hey, I've listened to Timmy's last 8 calls. Here's the dossier for your one-to-one. This is doable right now. I can have a specific GPT set up for each individual rep. It automatically pulls in calls. It automatically time boxes those calls. It then puts together a dossier and stores that for your next one-to-one. And you don't have to go through and listen to 8 calls. You can spot check very few of them to kind of hone in on the key areas to coach to, right? You can see consistently Sarah is doing this. It is working more effectively because I've analyzed the rest of your team. You should start to think about how you can roll this out to the rest of your team, etc. So a lot of the manager use cases, my friends, are around not just saying, here's the data, and not just here's the insights, here's what you need to do. And here's how you're going to have an even better conversation than you could have imagined. And today's best managers we're not trying to turn you into data analysts anymore. These people are decision architects. They are seeing these are the building blocks to build the skill sets of my team. I'm not just down here in firefighting mode deal coaching. So that's a wrap. That, my friends, is a day in the life of AI-powered seller part 2. Like I said before, if you haven't listened to part 1, make sure to go check that out as well too. And also, if you're somebody who is ready to get serious about this stuff, we launched the first ever AI-powered seller certification program. This is not something that is, a core business for us. It's something that as a consulting firm, we realize hey, for leaders and for reps to stay up to speed, you have to do this. First cohort just finished up. The next cohort launches in January. So please make sure to sign up. This is not theory. This is not prompting. We're building assistants. The types of automations that I walked you through, we're building those automations. So make sure to check out the next certification program. It's a great way to spend some of your end of year budget for next year, and will definitely move the needle for you on that.
AI powered seller.
As I summarize today's episode, I want you to think about you versus the competition. Your competition is still using Google and LinkedIn and doing one-to-ones manually. They're running some prompts. They're doing 50 prompts a day. Your team has set it up once. It runs. You approved. It executes. And the future of AI, isn't replacing you. It's AI giving you back the hours so you can have better customer conversations. I want all of you to think about that new world, that instead of me doing a lot of the manual BS that doesn't add a lot of value in the process, I'm now only adding value in the process. So the future, my friends, doesn't belong to people who use AI. It belongs to people that build with it. That's it, my friends. The future is here. Everything I talked about in today's episode, you can do right now. So hope you got a ton of value out of the episode. As usual, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to sign up for downloads on your favorite podcast platform. And we will see you on the next one. Have a great day.